are back with the 6th episode of The Guest List, episode 2032, episode 40, episode 69 here. Thank all of you guys for joining me along this very adventurous journey. And now let's get on to the show. I think there's a time where we have to accept who we are, open ourselves up, become vulnerable, take constructive criticism, and learn.
Whereas every day is like a bad day, a 2 to 3 patient day.
So I remember with October 1st, I walked through the ER and there was blood smeared all over the floor, just like footprints and blood. And of course, like EVS is trying their best to clean it, but they could not clean it at a fast enough rate as to how much blood was just like pouring out of these patients that were.
At the end of the day, no one's opinions are going to pay my bills for me, right? No one's opinions are going to buy my parents a home or retire them or make sure that I'm living the dream life that I want. So I just need to focus on myself, cut out the noise, and then just let my results do the talking.
And I want to become a more personal contact for these guests instead of be the image for the nightclub. I just want to be more of a, what can I do for you here in Vegas? Because some people,
I'm carrying like 35,000 people with me, in the palm of my hands. And so that's a pretty cool idea.
The distance between the dancer and the guest communicates a message.
At a restaurant, it's a minimum of $500,000 to get everything up and running and to get started. You can build out the restaurant and the menu on the app for, 10 grand.
Jake, and thank you for doing this. I think it's a public service to bring people together and have these conversations that you're having. And congratulations on your first few weeks. Sounds like you've been very busy, and I appreciate that. I look forward to your continued success.
Quarantine and everything, like nothing has stopped the train of Amuna once it got started. So I'm just super proud of that film, really.
Everybody, you had some people who were white ain't never raised their fists and said all power to the people, right? The pride and the esteem is being lifted. The spirit is being awakened. And, you got Black folks who don't believe in themselves, who didn't believe in themselves, is out there saying power to the people. And I love being Black. That's powerful.
And manager at the time was like, I don't know what I can do to help you. He was like, I think I've kind of run my course. And he sort of like ripped up the contract and said, I'm sorry, like there's nothing I can do anymore. And I didn't know what to do.
People would be like, oh, wait, I think I saw you. And you're like, yeah, it's a cool, like personal experience, but also to be able to help like that many people was completely like not something I considered while we were doing it. Like we built that entire project in less than 5 days.
The chaos is the best. Chaos is where it's like, yeah, magic.
First time in your experiences, they're all things I've never done before. I have to figure it out. As an entrepreneur, you're constantly having to enter into new technology, new concept, different people, different circumstances, and you've never been in that. And like, well, you have to figure it out. That's the only way you're gonna survive and you're gonna make it.
I probably haven't gone higher than 14 or 15 tables during quarantine.
At a time?
At a time. The majority of the time, I would say I'm
selling real estate on Mars.
Yes. That is the best answer anyone could ever give.
Ever have in my life. Good for you. But you're going to throw in things like the gym. You're going to throw in things like free local calls. Who the hell am I calling? Like, really? Like, what am I going to prank call Phil Ruffin and ask him if his fridge is still running? Like, what is going to happen there?
I have URLs, and I said, I'm going to start a website. I'm going to start a journalistic website. We're going to cover the Raiders moving here because there was nobody here. Of course, you had the newspapers and all that, but there was no independent source to do that.
Some level of like, oh man, there's a nervousness, right? Mm-hmm. But I think that level of nervousness always produces a better experience.
This is the first episode that is on video. So thank you, Lance, for coming on and being the test dummy.
I'm like, damn, we're almost there. And we just got ranked number 340 on Inc. 5000 fastest growing companies.
Wow.
This vision for Las Vegas.
And he blinked and kind of backed up for me. And he said, "Are you drunk?" And I said, "No, I'm not." And he said, "Are you high?" I said, "No." And he said, "Could you write this up in a business plan?" And I said, "Absolutely."
I am currently Las Vegas's most glamorous trash can and the sweetest kid that Gordon Ramsay has ever yelled at.
Always kind of like itching towards hospitality. Like I would always do my 9 to 5, but then I would always bartend at night.
You, Jake, 7.8 billion on the planet. No one has what you do. So what I really want is for you to like name and claim those native gifts.
Number 3, it was doing 15 grand in profit per day.
Per day?
Per day, yeah.
Shit.
And like I said, we were 18 years old. We were in high school. Like this is, I was kind of confused. Like do we drop out of high school? Like what are we supposed to do? And the free one, it was doing 150,000 downloads per day.
So you're telling me 13,000 people put down at least $150 and committed to pay at least $3,000, and there's not a single story anywhere for the last 3.5 weeks?
I have not found anything, including sex, that can allow you to be so present in that moment.
The world doesn't happen to you. The world, it's all about your relationship with the world.
I can, blame everything on everybody else, right? And I can play this victim mindset. I'm like, or I can take some accountability and look in the mirror and ask, what can I change about myself so that I'm never in this position again?
When we bought Cabo Spring Break, only a couple years in, that was a big turning moment.
When I worked on Wall Street, I always said to people, I got to put myself on autopilot because that's the only way I can survive.
The last, 7 months now has just been an incredible learning curve. You really do not get a business manual that teaches you how to deal with what we've been through here in terms of shutdowns, reopening procedures with masks and sanitation.
So we knocked out the whole shoot and accomplished the impossible. And then they got it and they absolutely loved it.
People always ask me, how do you build an audience? How do you build an audience? The answer is you build it one at a time. One person at a time.
I like to think that a majority of Americans are much more similar than they are different in almost every way.
Bro, if I would go to I go to this restaurant and I look at their social media, I look at their menu, and I would literally go home that night and redesign all of it.
For me, the story is the same in downtown. It's going in a positive direction. There's going to be more great projects that come online. There's more and more chefs that are looking down here.
I loved what Jose Andres has always said about cooking, is that it's you're a culinary storyteller.
I have a 17-year-old daughter. She's getting ready to go off to college. It's hard. You've raised something from 0 to 17, and now you're trying to separate. You have to separate from it and let it grow.
But a part of that is operating like a $20 million organization.
But we wanted to be the food truck that would serve East Side level of tacos, not on the East Side.
Find another city where that's true. Like there's no Vital Seattle. I'm sorry.
Just remember that you're not alone, both in terms of like your resources that you have here on the planet Earth, but also spiritually.
It was like confirmation for me. Like this is really what you're meant to do. Like you can't, there's no excuses now.
People do not come to social media to get sold. So the moment it feels like an advertising, you lose them.
When are you going to have the opportunity to be in front of somebody to a specific caliber as the guests that come into a club?
Probably the joy of my life in the last year or two, to just really be able to see people light up for our city, but then also recognize the real mission behind what I'm doing.
Full-on entrepreneur. I want to fail a lot next year.
Our big pivot for 2021 is to get even deeper into content creation.
If you didn't cheat and you did the best you could, it doesn't matter. Like, you're a winner regardless.
Actually, no, people need my opinion, really badly. Like, this is actually really bad.
Once you surrender to the universe and you kind of let go of these materialistic attachments, you realize that the universe actually empowers you more together.
It was night and day. My view of what I was looking at and how I perceived it and what I thought of it had changed so radically.
But we'll always make sure that we are giving them the best solution that fits their situation, even if it's not in our best interest.
You know, optics is all about creating action, and a lot of that action is human driven.
I got a lot of views and a lot of attention on there, and then so people started asking.
The game plan is to literally change the art scene.
I believe that at the heart of it, humanity is good. It's just we get covered in trauma and we get covered in darkness. And
definitely the most rewarding for me as a coach is your kids are a byproduct of you.
We have really moved very actively into the advocacy space.
Know that life is about taking those lessons that you learn and growing from them, because you can't grow, I truly don't believe, without actually going through.
Everybody wants to believe in something. Everybody needs to stop believing, start planning. Plan to believe to plan.
Because everybody was doing it out in Cali, but nobody was doing it out here yet.
We had the U17 national team kid from Holland, from Egypt, from the girl from Mexico, 2 kids from Paris, 1 kid from Ireland, all flying in.
As a leader, you will do 3 things. You will teach, you will coach, and you will mentor.
But Vegas, I wish I could have spoke to them before they came. This is a place for killers.
People are completely mind blown when they find out there are 7 different concepts in one space.
Mm-hmm. And then the other group of people are the people that want to figure things out. So you're essentially presenting a puzzle.
There's a phrase that I harp on so much through this podcast, and eventually I'm just going to get it put in the background because I say this so much, is that the COVID pandemic's the best rebranding opportunity we're all going to get. This is going to be the biggest rebranding opportunity anybody will get. This is the best opportunity to rebrand yourself. 2020 and during this pandemic is going to be the best opportunity that anyone has in rebranding themselves. It's the best rebranding opportunity anybody can have. I literally say it time and time again. And I think the listeners probably know what I'm about to say, but the pandemic is the best rebranding opportunity we're going to get in a long, long time.